And welcome back to the Investor Shed Podcast, everybody. We are live. Welcome, Jeremy Kitchen, to the live broadcast where we are on my personal page this time, where it might be seen more than 10 times.
Shout out to Nick Beveridge's personal page. I see you out there. Thank you so much for joining us on the Investor Shed Podcast. As usual, I feel like we've got a really good episode today.
We always do.
What do we got? I think somebody in-house got a new deal under contract.
A new deal, yes.
And spoiler alert, it was not me.
Hey, not yet.
Not yet.
We'll talk about this and see.
The year's early.
It's an early year. So, yeah, I got my third flip under contract for the year.
Yeah.
And this one is right next to a property I bought last week. Right next, like a couple blocks away.
Oh,
it's
cool.
in Bonners Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, hey, on this episode, why don't we talk about it? Because I don't have to close on it for another month or so.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked a lot about Roth IRAs and those, self-directed retirement accounts.
Yep.
And I got one set up last year. Still haven't used it, but I got the account set up. I did my contribution of $7,000 to this Roth IRA, self-directed.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got these attorneys to set up an LLC that is owned by that account.
Yep. So the Roth IRA owns this LLC 100%, correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. The Roth IRA owns this LLC, and it's called, doesn't matter, REI.
Doesn't matter.
I think it's called REI IRA.
I want to start an LLC called Doesn't Matter LLC. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But this LLC gives you the power to not have to ask your broker for money every time you need it. It's like a checkbook.
They're a custodian, not a broker, but
yeah, custodian, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, just
but the people
using the
that
right
hold,
language.
You don't have to constantly get things approved. You can just hey, send all the money to this LLC's bank account that the account owns.
Yep.
But not me personally.
Yep.
But my retirement account owns it.
Yeah.
And then I can just act as the manager.
You are the manager, correct?
Right. And I can invest those funds as long as we do things correctly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot when fixing and flipping a house that you can't do. So we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is going to be a good episode because, if you've heard the episode before, I love using my Roth IRA to invest in real estate. It's been a baby account the first couple years, but it's actually growing at a really quick rate. I think we calculated the returns and it's I'm getting 42% growth in this thing, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Not bad. And all I'm doing is I'm doing safe bets too. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm doing private lending and getting potential or profits back returned, or I'm just doing private lending with a higher yield to get back into my account and just keeping those deals flowing.
Yeah. And the fun thing about these accounts is that it's not money that you can just take and go spend.
Yeah, I love it.
On an Xbox if you're feeling like you deserve a reward.
Right.
Because it is your retirement account and you can, I guess, but you'll get penalized.
Yeah.
But it's easier for people like me, people like you, to be able to have fun and grow this account and know that it's money as for our retirement. We can't take it now, unless we want to be penalized. So
right. That's specifically what I love about it. It's like a forced savings account. All the money that you put in, all your contributions can come back out to you tax free, by the way, with no penalty. Contributions is the key word there, right? Anything you make as far as interest, other investments, if you start dipping into that money, you will be penalized very heavily if you take it out before 59 and a half.
Yeah. So my situation, I've got, when it comes to retirement, I have really no retirement account,
right?
Except for this $7,000 account that I set up last year. Now it's a new year. I can put another $7,000 in, which I'm closing on a fix and flip this week.
Okay.
And I plan on paying off a bunch of debt and stuff with that I got into with that fix and flip. Made a healthy profit on it.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to pay you back one of your investments too.
Thank you.
Yes, and you'll make a little bit of a return there.
Make a little bit of change on that one. Yeah.
And and then I'll be able to put another $7,000 in because it's a new year. So I'll have $14,000 in my Roth IRA account that I still have yet to invest in.
Yeah.
But I think I've got the next investment, and that's one I just got under contract on a couple days ago.
That's great.
So we can talk about that. It is a cheap house.
Okay.
It's $110,000.
Is it a mobile home?
No.
Wow.
It's a normal house right by the river in Bonners Ferry. It needs siding work. It needs Now, I don't know exactly what it needs yet. I've seen photos.
Yeah.
It looks like it needs some siding. Could need anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 in work. But buying it for $110,000, things should be worth $250,000, $275,000 when it's fixed up. And in that price range, a fixed up house sells pretty quick, even in Bonners Ferry. So my thought is, because I'm doing one right nearby, hey, why don't this one, since I'm not going up there and I'm not actually going to be working on it, I am exclusively hiring out everything. I'm not going up there to work.
Good. That's something I wanted to bring up, but if you want to talk about it now, we can do that too.
Yes,
so.
and that's why it came to me like, hey, this could be an opportunity to really rapidly grow this account by investing what little money it does have into a fix and flip that I can get high leveraged on, meaning because it's such a good deal, I know I can go to my private hard money lender and be like, hey, help me grow my retirement account.
Yeah.
Give me a non-recourse loan, if you don't mind.
If you don't mind.
For these, for the purchase price and the improvements. And then I've got this 14 grand that I will use for just in case kind of money and utilities. And, you know, if I go over budget.
Yeah.
So at least there's something there. I'm like, are you going to be cool with that? I know he's going to be cool with it.
Right.
And if he won't, I'll find somebody else that will be.
Yeah. I mean, if this is what you call a home run deal, somebody will fund it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done enough fix and flips to know what I've got.
Right.
And it's a money on the bag or there's a bag of money sitting on the ground situation with this property.
And this is something even like, you know, if you can't get the numbers exactly correct where you're coming to the table with zero down, talk to one of your favorite private lenders.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you next.
Okay. I'm like,
maybe we can talk in advance.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money you have to invest. Do you have 150 grand or so?
No.
Okay.
But I can get you close.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I know I'll need about 150 grand to make this work, but I'll know a lot more later in the week because I'm getting a very expensive inspection done on it.
I guess what I meant, so to pause there, like if you need a down payment for a hard money lender,
right,
that's where I can come in, not the full financing. And
that's another thing too. If I need that, maybe we can talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I plan on doing a lot of deals this year.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's going to be. We're going to feel it out.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm not worried about it.
There's going to be times where I'm going to need your money.
If you don't need me, I take seriously no offense to it. By the way, like you're doing a lot of projects, and please continue kicking ass. You're doing great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, you've got your money working for you too in other projects, and you've got like you're invested in the Wolf Lodge project, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the campground.
Yeah, RV park.
RV park.
Yeah. To be specific.
Well, campground is an RV park. They're in the same category.
The LLC is RV park, but I don't know. None of this matters.
Yeah.
But what does matter? So, like, I think what you're doing is really cool. And so, if anyone doesn't have a Roth IRA set up, they're super easy to set up. What I would recommend is going with a self-directed account, so you don't have to buy mutual funds or stocks or a Vanguard. That's all they offer, right?
Yeah.
Self-directed, you can do anything you want as long as it follows the rules, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
The rules are you can't lend to people in your family tree who are above you or below you.
And we're not family.
Not anymore. We were cousins for a little bit.
We were cousin-in-laws.
Cousin-in-laws for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if the IRS will look at that and be like, I think you're fine.
Ex-cousin-in-laws be like, I can show you the divorce paperwork.
Yep. It's not legal anymore.
Yeah. Hey, quick commercial break here. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you want to give back, let me help you buy a house, or I can help you sell a house. It's the only way I make money when I'm not investing in real estate. I don't make money on this podcast or the events I do, but I do make money only when I help people buy and sell houses. So if you're looking for your next investment and you're here in North Idaho, I want to help you personally. If you are not in North Idaho, I can still help you out. I have a vast network of referral partners all across the country, and I can find the right real estate investor savvy agent for you so you don't have to. It doesn't cost you a thing. Thank you for your support. Back to the show.
So you can't invest with family members above or below you. You can invest with your brothers and sisters, though, so you can go parallel, not perpendicular, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think one of the most important things to circle back here again, if you want to do a fix and flip with a retirement account, there's going to be a lot of hurdles in the way, I believe.
There will be a few.
You just got to be prepared because you can't do any of the work yourself. You can't be responsible personally for the loan or anything like that.
Yep.
There's going to be potential taxes with UBIT because I'm getting debt to help fund this. So you'll talk more about that. So like, why even do this?
Yeah.
Like, why not just fix and flip in my own personal account? And I think the main difference that I'm going after here is like, I want an actual retirement account as another leg in my retirement stool instead of just relying on rental properties. It'd be nice to have a cash account that I can use to also just invest in hard money loans one day, and just another source of income.
Exactly what I'm doing with it.
Compounds on itself that I will not take from, because with my rental properties and the fix and flips I do and all that stuff, I spent a lot of that cash personally.
Yeah.
It gets all convoluted, which is okay.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. But if it's done in this other account, it will compound.
Yep.
Because I won't be able to spend it like I normally do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're onto something there. Like we are habitual spenders. Like, I don't even buy anything that's bad inherently, but like I'm constantly paying off debts. I'm constantly funding new deals. Like if I don't have a spot for this to do it, it'll just go away, and something will happen to it, right?
Right.
And it's nice having this vehicle that's like, okay, this is specifically for my real estate investing, and I'm going to grow this. And I've said this analogy before. You got to plant the seed to make the tree grow.
Yeah.
All we're doing is planting a couple seeds. This is not our main strategy, but it is something we want to grow.
Yeah.
And in order to grow it, you got to use it.
And another thing that's unique about a retirement account like this is that, when all shit hits the fan, it's protected legally. Mm-hmm. So I did have the shit hit the fan a couple years ago where I had massive debts and not enough income coming in. And I was doing way too many projects. And I had all this security of all these rental properties and a big net worth that dwindled pretty quickly when I started having to sell these things just to make do, because I was refusing to go bankrupt.
Right.
But if that ever happens again in the future, which it very well could, maybe 10 years from now, I can get into another rut. Yep. At least that retirement account, I wouldn't ever be forced to sell it or liquidate it. It's, that's how OJ got to keep his money.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. he had it all in retirement accounts, and it's a great thing. So
anyway,
let's talk about this deal. What do you got? So you said it's in Bonners Ferry. Purchase price was what? I'm sorry.
The purchase price is $110,000.
And you said it's worth about $270.
It's probably worth well, it depends. Right now, it's probably worth $200,000 as is.
Cool. Okay, so you've got like $90,000 of equity.
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah. It needs some work. If I had to guess, just by looking at the photos, maybe 10 to 20 grand of work will get it over that 200.
Okay.
And I think maybe max value, depending on what I do to it, is going to be about 275. So I'm just going to guess 250.
Okay, cool.
With maybe 40 grand repairs.
That's a safe assumption.
And,
so when you bring this,
and I'll get more detailed later in the due diligence.
Right. So you take this to your hard money lender, and we're just going to break down the process of this. You take this to your hard money lender, saying, "I got a property under contract for $110,000."
Yep.
And you're looking for like full funding, right?
Yeah. I might say I need 150 grand.
Yeah.
Can you do that for me? And some of that will go towards closing costs.
Yeah.
Some of that will go towards the renovation. I might have $5,000 in fees. I might have $35,000 for renovation.
Yeah.
And then $110 to close on the purchase price. So that other $35,000 may go into another account to be used as draws.
Like an escrow account.
Yep. Yeah, to be a construction holdback account. And as I get the construction finished, that account will get reimbursed, maybe $10,000 at a time. So I can use the $14,000 that I'm going to have in this retirement account to start the renovation and get reimbursed.
Awesome. Start
the renovation, get reimbursed. And then at the end, if I'm over budget, I should essentially still have $10,000 to $14,000 in there.
Right.
If I go over budget.
Right. Yeah.
Also, in order to do this, I think the interest payments need to be deferred, which with this lender, he does that all the time.
Yeah, we've got pretty good lenders
deferred
who
for
like
about
that.
6 months. So keep the project under 6 months is the idea.
Yeah, finish it in summer.
Yeah. And by the time it will be ready for resale, it's very likely that it will sell during the summer in this affordable price point.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Okay. Cool.
Now, could it go wrong? Yeah, sure.
Anything could go wrong on real estate investing. Anything can go wrong with not investing, though. It's all about mitigating risk, whether we're doing deals or not here.
Yeah. So what are the things that come to mind, Jeremy, where immediately before I even purchase this house, I got to be careful with? Because there are some things that I'm going on in my head, like the earnest money. I haven't dropped off yet, but I don't want to bring my own money. Right?
Yep, you're absolutely correct. So, and let me pause here. Like, yes, you can invest with your own funds, but it needs to be very, very heavily documented if you're going to do that, right? So, like, you can co-invest. Whoop, That's gone.
Oh, I didn't know
forever. Yeah, so you can co-invest with yourself, but like the ownership has to be what's called pro forma, I think is what it's called. And that's where like, Nick Beveridge person own. So if you'd have to basically start a new LLC with your LLC and yourself.
Okay.
And you'd have to start a new venture.
Okay. And then we'd own particular like 80-20 or something like that?
Whatever money you put in, that's your amount of ownership. So if Nick Beveridge put in $20,000 and your IRA put in $80,000, IRA is an 80% owner, Nick Beveridge is a 20% owner.
Okay. So you can partner with your
You can partner with
IRA.
yourself.
It's got to be heavily documented and heavily fair.
Yeah, and you still can't like work on the property yourself, but you can bring in your own funds. I wouldn't recommend that this time.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, if you can get away with it, I think you using just your IRA is going to be the play for you.
Now, I wonder, if I needed to do things like, what if I'm able to close on this property without my funds? And then the city says, hey, we're not going to turn on the power unless you personally put your name on this. What then? Could I put my name on it and then reimburse myself for the utilities?
I think as long as it's paid out of your IRA bank account, I don't think that's a big deal.
Okay.
Because you are the manager of this LLC, right? And as the manager of this LLC, your name will be on paperwork.
Right.
You are signing on behalf of this. So I don't think that's going to be an issue there.
Okay, you don't think it's going to be an issue?
Yeah.
Even because you can't be, like the loan that you have to get you can't personally guarantee the loan.
Correct. Yeah, it has to be a non-recourse loan for any investment properties in an IRA.
But if you get the power turned on, are you like essentially a personal guarantee of the power with the power company? You think that matters?
I don't think it matters. I think somebody would have said something by now, or I would have heard something from one of the thousands of IRA podcasts I listen to. Someone would have said, like, by the way, power's going to be a real son of a bitch. No, I think you're going to be okay. Like I said, as that manager of that company, you are signing on behalf of the LLC, so there's no personal guarantee on power or anything like that.
Okay.
Have you ever had to sign a personal guarantee for a power company?
So, well, sometimes. I mean, they do want to pull your credit usually, like a Vista and stuff. I haven't had that happen in a long time, but I know it's very credit heavy sometimes.
So, and I guess that would be the one thing to look out for, actually.
Yeah.
Because you are not allowed to use your credit as a way to get things.
Yeah. Now, I did just buy a property in Bonners Ferry right next to it, and I got the power put on my name and all that stuff. And it was in a separate LLC. They didn't want to pull my credit or anything like that. Right. So I don't think it's going to be an issue in this city that I'm buying this house in.
Yeah.
But if it was a normal Vista deal, and I've never worked with a Vista, they do pull your credit.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
To maybe consider.
And I guess
a small fry issue. But.
That's something where, I guess you can build business lines of credit too, or business credit up with like Duns & Bradstreet, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe just work on that in your IRA LLC a little bit and get that business credit line. But then I wouldn't. I don't know. I feel like we're getting in the weeds with that.
Okay.
I wouldn't overcomplicate it. But I will say, if you need extra guidance to talk to an attorney, I'm not an expert, but I know a couple things about it. So I think you're good as long as you're not using your credit to leverage whatever product you're getting, and you're not mixing your funds unless you specifically say that I'm investing with myself.
Okay.
I think you're going to be okay there.
Okay. Here's one interesting thing that I'm just thinking of though, and that I may have to go a different strategy. Typically, with a lot of my renovations, I will I will hand one of my credit cards to the contractor and say, whatever materials you need, just use this and keep receipts. That way, I don't have to, you don't have to use your own cash and get reimbursed later. And there's questions about it or anything, like it's real easy.
Sure.
Just use my credit card.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be impossible in this scenario?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. Because again, you're utilizing something that is your own personal credit line, right? Or a different business, Nick Estates, whatever it is, and you're using that in order to leverage this product, which needs to be funded by the whole thing. I would think you would get in trouble with that.
Okay. Now, what if I use somebody else's credit? Like, what if I use one of my LLC's credit cards that was just on that LLC?
I would consult an attorney.
And it's not me personally.
I would consult an attorney, but my answer would be no.
Okay.
Because you're still, it's like, the IRS looks at it as, I can't remember the terminology, but basically, like, you're just going through the waves of trying to find funding for yourself, and they consider that, like, cheating the system. Like, if the line draws back to you, the answer is no.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Now, would they ever know, like, and this is just a question, I'm just curious, like, Could the IRS ever get so heavily involved where they would know where those materials were initially purchased anyway? If you just kind of kept it off the books and then you were just paying your contractor?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't want to tell you to break the law here.
No, I understand. But just to get over that minor, who's it harming? To just use this credit card. And I'm not obviously promoting this. I'm just thinking out loud as we're having this discussion.
Yeah. And to be completely truthful with the answer would be I have no idea.
Okay.
Because I've never done it. But I imagine if they do find out you've done it, they will distribute, from what I understand, your whole account. They just see you're just using this account to cheat. You don't get to have this vehicle anymore.
So I wonder, you know what I could do? This Titan Bank checking account, I think it just has a debit card.
Yeah. You could give them your debit card is what I was going to say.
That credit. Okay, so that debit card comes from this bank account that is owned by my LLC that is owned by the retirement account.
Correct. That would be
just
absolutely
give
fine.
them that debit card.
Yep.
And that should handle that.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, if you can get a debit card, because I don't think you can actually get
no points. No flyer miles. Fuck.
This episode, Roth suck. You heard it here first from Nick.
You heard it first. There's save on taxes, but not...
save on taxes, forego your fees. Forego your fees.
But at least I guess I would pay less interest, like credit card interest, so I guess that's one perk.
Yeah. I think if you're worried about points on your credit card, why'd you open an IRA in the first place?
Because I like to have fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun.
I love my points.
It is fun.
I love my rewards.
Yeah.
I love my stupid checks in the mail.
You know what the reward is on this? Tax-free wealth.
Yep. That's a good point.
And you can use those instead of the $1.50 that you get back on Home Depot. You get an extra $10,000 back in your IRA. Great.
Yeah. Plus, I don't want Elon Musk going through my credit cards and be like,
Oh, this guy is.
Big Balls found out what you did with your credit card.
And he's not too happy with you.
No.
No, but yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So Titan Bank should give you a debit card attached to this
I think
LLC.
they have. Yeah. I'll have to go back and look at it.
And if you can give your contractor that and just let them know, hey,
any and all materials, just use this.
Just use this, and I need receipts, of course. Document everything, please. My numbers have to match up. And you just got a new contractor out there, correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. How's that going?
I think good. I think he starts today.
Okay.
On that new project I bought last week. I got a really good vibe from him. I met him last week. He's kind of somewhat of a newer contractor, but not really. He's done 10 remodels so far.
Cool.
We don't have to get into the weeds on that one, but I got a good...
It's someone you trust giving a debit card or a credit card, though, right?
Yeah, and if it all goes bad, it's a credit card. You can just dispute the charges.
Right.
And be like, hey, I gave this guy my credit card, and he went and spent money. I don't know what happened.
I don't know how you survive sometimes. I gave this guy my credit card, and he spent it. Can you fix this?
Yeah. It's fraud! Clearly. I told him to only buy the OnlyFans subscriptions, and he went and got Politico.
Yeah, that's not what I asked him for. But again, that's where you have everything heavily documented. And just heavily receipted. I think you can get QuickBooks through your IRA as well. That's a IRA purchase you could do with your business.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah. Keep it separate.
Yep. So I would buy a separate QuickBooks subscription. I would just buy the solopreneur one that's $70 a year or something like that.
Just $70 a year?
I think so.
Wow, that's cheap.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not a monthly fee? I pay $100 a year for my...
You pay $100 a year?
No, $100 a month.
Okay.
For my current subscription.
I pay $500 a year. I have a different one. There's solopreneur, self-employed, small business, whatever, and then you've probably got the one where you've got 10 businesses because you...
No, it's just one business, but I have a bunch of projects, and those are my businesses.
Okay.
So I cheat the system a little bit, but it works for me.
Sure. But everything with yours, everything ends up getting routed back to your one main account for the most part, correct?
Well, it does unless I divvy it out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And my stuff, my businesses have just a QuickBooks attached to each business because for one, it's a business write-off. Cool, I'll spend $70 a year to put my receipts in and have something nice to show Tom Robinson at the end of the year.
Here's it's clean.
Here's my printout. Everything matches.
Yeah.
And that's what I would recommend.
But you can still do that with one QuickBooks account. You just go to the project and then you print off download an Excel of that particular project and it will show your P&L for that. And then you can just keep those. It works for me.
Yeah, it does work for you. I don't know if that would work for your IRA.
Probably not. No, because
you're
I'm paying for it.
exactly
Because I'm personally paying for it.
Correct. So yeah, just something to be aware of. Like, do you need the QuickBooks, or maybe find some other accounting software that isn't QuickBooks, so you don't have to be too crazy about it?
Honestly, if it's just one project, in my head, I just think, why don't I just go to the bank account, online checking account?
Yeah,
and
you
if
can
it's
just see the bank.
that one thing, there's the P&L.
Yep.
Here's the income. Here's the expenses.
Yep. and you can make a P&L worksheet on like Google Sheets and stuff if you really needed to. That would be an easy way to do it too. Don't overcomplicate it.
I'm not going to overcomplicate this.
But if you're going to have lots of receipts and just a lot of things going on, if it starts getting muddled, definitely get some accounting software for sure.
Okay.
But that's my 2 cents on that.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay. So we covered the acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get a hard money loan.
Yeah.
Now, I've got some expenses coming up, though.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a $2,500 earnest money that I have to drop off real soon.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a $700 inspection that's going on Thursday. Now, what do you think of paying for these and then getting reimbursed by my checking account, or getting reimbursed by the retirement account right away as soon as I have access to the right, because right now I don't really have, I have the bank account set up, but I can't even log in.
Right.
Sounds
like a project you should do after this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I have it on my it's actually on my calendar to figure that out today. But I also still need to get money there, and sometimes it could take a little while to transfer. It might take a few days, potentially.
There is rush transfers, I believe, but I think you have to pay for that.
Yeah, but what is your opinion of if I just paid for it and then I got reimbursed from that account? Do you think that would be a strong enough paper trail to be like, yeah, I just didn't have time. I paid for it and then I got reimbursed, so essentially the IRA paid for it.
Sure. And you're asking my opinion here?
Yeah.
My opinion, not being a legal representative or part of the IRS or anything like that. Well, my opinion would be no.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not possible.
Is there anybody out there listening to this that knows the answer to that question? If you could put it in the comments, that would be awesome.
And I think you might be okay, but again, I'm not a legal professional or a tax professional to be like, yeah, go right ahead. I don't want that lingering over my head.
Yeah.
Jeremy Kitchen stamps it no.
Jeremy says no. I want to hear what everybody else is saying. And I don't even know if we can look at this stuff live.
That's okay.
Oh, there it is.
Cool.
But nobody's commenting.
Yeah, we're watching live and nobody's commenting. Cool. That's great.
That sounds like us. Yeah.
It really hurts when you see it live, though. It's nice knowing it.
Oh, you know what? It's actually delayed a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, your comment shouldn't be delayed. So let's talk about it some more, though. So obviously, you got this Roth IRA. I think this is going to be a really good deal for you, and I think so far, as long as you play by the rules, it's going to make sense.
Definitely going to try to play by the rules. Yeah. I'm going to try.
And the other option is you can come with I don't want to tell you to come with outside funding, but come with outside funding that isn't from you. Like, get a partner to come with this for 5% of the profits or whatever it is. Someone could do that.
Now, how soon do you think I should get this? Right now it's assigned to Nick Estates LLC, one of my personal LLCs, not the retirement account. As far as the assignment to purchase this property.
Yeah.
My thoughts is I'm gonna at least wait a week or so before I request getting the switch over, because what if I just keep hitting a wall like, hey, this might be impossible.
Yeah. You're closing in about a month, you said, correct?
Yeah.
What's your actual close date?
A month from now. Yeah, so March 8th or
March 8th?
Something like that.
Yeah, so you got 28 days, something like that. February is a small month, too. So, I mean, the month, it's really like 3.5 weeks.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. They robbed a couple of days from us.
They did. I don't even think it's a leap year, so we lose an extra day.
Yeah.
Bummer. But I would say figure out your plan as soon as possible, right? And I know that's what you're going to be working on, but I know you want to wait maybe a week. That might be fine. But start making calls today.
Yeah. I saw something funny on Facebook the other day, and it said there's going to be a 3-day binge of no coffee drinking on the 29th, the 28th, and the
29th, 30th, and 31st?
Something like that. Yeah, 29th, the 30th, and 31st.
That's pretty
February.
Funny. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to be a part of that.
I think that's something I can get behind.
Anyway,
March 1st, I am drinking coffee. February 28th, I will be drinking coffee.
nothing in between.
Nothing in between.
Yeah.
It's all about discipline, you know. It's discipline for your mind.
All right. So you think not a big deal. Make sure we can do it.
Yeah.
Just get a transfer before then.
Yeah.
What other expenses am I going to run into before closing?
So before closing, I mean, you got your earnest money. We talked about that, right?
Got the inspection.
Inspection. So yeah, all this stuff. If you can get all that money transferred into your IRA bank account where you can use that IRA debit card, you're good to go.
Okay. Now, is there any time limit that you're aware of, like seasoning periods or anything? Because I haven't contributed that other $7,000 to this account. Actually, so I close on a property tomorrow, and I would imagine by tomorrow or the next day, I'll have another. I'll be flush with cash again, and I'd like to contribute another $7,000 to this Roth IRA, making it 14. Before I can use that money, do I have to let it sit or season for a certain amount of time?
No, sir. And the reason is basically the IRS, because this is a Roth IRA, this is a post-tax dollars account, right? This is not a traditional where it's pre-tax. So post-tax, all that needs to happen is you need to show $7,000 of income at the end of 2025.
Oh, okay.
So what
if I took a loss?
Good question. No, you still should be fine because you can contribute up to $7,000. You still made that money. You still made $7,000. Are you going to show a loss?
I showed a loss last year.
Right. Well, IRA.
Well, I had this really heavy losses that my tax guy said that we can push forward.
Sure.
You know, I lost $1.8 million, and he's going to spread that out over a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that I can enjoy my low tax season.
There you go.
Because of all the weeping I did losing that actual money.
Right. The only thing that matters with a Roth IRA is how much money you make at the end of the year. So I think for a married person, I think it's like $232,000. If you and Hillary make more than that combined at the end of the year, you may not be able to contribute to a Roth.
Okay. That won't be a problem.
That shouldn't be. Yeah, we've got tax guys for this, right?
Yeah.
Right. But
I've got rentals and all that stuff. But my taxes look like a joke.
Right. Yeah. and it's important to know, like I said, this is a Roth IRA, so this is post-tax tax dollars. You do not get a tax deduction at the end of the year for putting this money in.
Right. No, I don't expect a tax deduction.
So I think like if you show a loss and you still made $7,000, you made $7,000 of income. It does not matter what the end goal is. You made $7,000 of income in the year.
Okay.
You're fine.
Now, here's something that I find interesting that you pointed out. I think in my head, you know, I'm doing this in my Roth IRA. That just means it's tax-free, but I'm getting a loan for the entire purchase price. And, you know, I'm going to fix and flip this house, probably make, I don't know, somewhere between 50 and 100 grand.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
In profits.
Yeah.
When that money gets dumped into this account, I think in my head initially, I'm not going to have to pay taxes on that at all.
Yeah.
But you pointed something out that like, actually there are some taxes. And why is that?
Okay, so the taxes on this particular deal, it's called UBIT, which is Unrelated Business Income Tax. Okay. Now, what that means is you've got money you've got money in your IRA and you use that money to get a loan. So with this, you would be using that money to get a loan, hypothetically.
Now, what the business is getting the loan, but not the retirement account.
It still trails back to the retirement account, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So, with this though, like with the podcasts I've listened to, I don't think you're going to be in too much trouble if you do this one time this year.
Okay.
Now, everyone like Matt Sorensen, Mark Kohler, they all say
so there's still a good chance I still will pay zero.
Yes. Very good chance on this. Yes.
It's if I make it a pattern and do it more than 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, if you make this into a business where the IRS is looking at your tax return and they're like, "Oh, he flipped 9 houses in his Roth this year." And now he's trying to evade tax rather than, like build tax. This isn't like tax evasion we're trying to do. This is tax deferral is what they call it.
Well, I'm trying to grow my retirement account.
Right, you're trying to grow your retirement account. But again, if you do that 9 times, that's okay.
Do you want to get that real quick? Sam's calling. Maybe it's not important.
Yeah.
Sam's calling us. Maybe it's about a transaction.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
You were explaining UBIT.
Okay. Yeah, UBIT. So it's Unrelated Business Income Tax. I don't think you're going to have a problem with it if you flip one house.
Okay.
Again, if you make a business out of this, and I'm using air quotes for anyone listening, if you make this a business...
Instead of just random investments.
Yeah, instead of just random investments, 1 or 2 times shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
It sounds like my dog's being beat up outside.
We're like, what's happening right now?
What is going on? Sam's trying to call me, your wife, and then it sounds like the dog's getting beat.
Yeah, that's
Love
okay.
distractions.
Yeah, a lot of distractions. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good deal for your retirement account, Nick.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What other things should I be concerned with? So we talked about I can't personally guarantee this loan,
Correct.
right? It's got to be non-recourse. So the hard money lender that you're dealing with, if you're trying to do this out there, they have to be comfortable with that. They have to know how this works.
Yeah. Typically, a relationship with them prior is going to be helpful. Yeah. Even though, like, as long as you can't lend your own personal credit, you can lend your personal character. Like, I'm the manager of this account. Yeah. Obviously, it's a new account. Treat it as such, but I'm going to be the one making the decisions on the account.
Yeah. And I can't actually go work on the house, right?
Correct. Yep.
Now, why is that?
I don't know the exact rules, but it's called self-dealing, basically. It's basically using your own personal services to go and make a project better, and there's tax weird laws about what you can and can't do there.
Okay.
Because if you get hurt, if you swing a hammer and hurt yourself on the job, like...
Can't sue my retirement
You can't sue your retirement. Like, they all just have to make sure they, like... The lines are clean, if that makes sense.
So I can't physically go work on it, but I can. Can I manage it?
Yes, right? You absolutely can manage it.
Okay, so I can manage it from a desk.
Yep, you can manage it. You can pay all invoices. With the tool belt. Correct. Pay all the invoices. You can go take pictures. You can go meet contractors. You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't.
And I can't pay myself a fee for doing this.
You cannot pay yourself a fee for doing that. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's strictly you're volunteering your time as a manager to your retirement account, not getting compensated at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make that clear. I'm comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the payment you're getting is going back to your retirement account, right? So, like, rather than trying to take a fee or anything like that, we're focused on building long-term wealth in our retirement.
Okay. What other things should I be considering with this?
I mean, the only rules are, no self-dealing, no prohibited transactions, and that's where it's, if Nick can't invest with his mom or dad, sons, daughters, wife, or anything like that. But you could invest with your brother.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can co-invest with Brandon or Sean.
Okay. With a sibling.
Yep. You can
invest.
Not a
cousin-in-law.
Cousin-in-law's probably okay. If siblings are okay, cousin-in-laws are okay. So I think we're fine.
Okay.
Ex-cousin-in-laws.
Ex-cousin-in-laws. There's some gray area there.
Yeah, there's a gray area. IRS is going to look like this, but
whoa, wait a second.
It's a big line in between these guys. Should we draw it?
Okay.
Should we shoot them?
We should shoot them. Okay.
Yep. No prohibited transactions, no self-dealing, and that's what I'm talking about. Self-dealing is, using your funds or your services to help build this account. And that's where you can't swing a hammer or bring your own finances into the equation unless you co-invest with yourself.
Okay. So this is, I find this intriguing because I'm going to have to test my skills of truly leveraging every part of the construction, because once in a while, I just want to leave the house with all my tools and just go get shit done. Yep. And I do it on almost every project.
You cannot do it on this one.
And I cannot do it on this one. I have to test my management skills.
Look, I am not the IRS. I'm not going to tell on you. I ain't no snitch.
No, I'm not. But I don't want to.
Right. But you don't want to.
And
exactly.
I think this one is going to help me because it's an hour and a half away.
Right.
Like if I want to go work on this house at all, I'm spending 3 hours of drive time per day. Is that worth my time? Probably not.
Right.
So
yeah, probably not worth your time. But what you could do is you could go work on that other one in Bonners Ferry.
Oh, that's true.
That is a personal.
I don't want to do that either.
Okay. Yeah. It does not sound like good use of your time, but it's nice to know that, like, they basically build you this playground, and all you have to do is play ball.
Okay. Now, here's a question. Let's say I do the flip. Things work out. I sell it. I make, let's call it 70 grand. Now that 70 grand, it goes back into the LLC's account.
Correct.
Should I just leave it there, or should I send it back to the brokerage account?
You don't need to send it back to the brokerage.
Just leave it in the LLC.
Yep.
Can that LLC then immediately do everything else that it wants? Like, how do I have to document every investment that this LLC makes, or just that the retirement account is investing in this LLC that is going to go hustle?
For peace of mind, what I would do is I would document everything.
Okay.
And that just says if you ever get audited, you've got your papers in a row. Like, again, this is like they gave us an arena. I want to play ball in the arena. I want to learn to play by the rules. And what I don't want is to come unprepared for any investment I do with it.
Does this retirement account, the brokerage account that you initially have to put money into every year, you don't have to, but their contributions, do you ever have to put money back in there? Or could it just exclusively stay with this LLC's bank account?
It exclusively stays with the LLC.
So working on that.
Yeah, okay. and the reason why that is because the custodian account is what they call it. The custodian account, you put your $7,000 in, right? That $7,000, you bought an LLC. That IRA owns the LLC 100%.
It does, yeah.
So then that $7,000, if you want that into your business bank account, you just need to transfer from your custodian to your bank account, letting them know, like, okay, I'm taking my contributions and I'm plowing it back towards my investment here.
Okay.
And they say, cool, great, sounds good. And it does not need to go back to there. It can sit in your LLC indefinitely.
Okay. All right.
Where it will get money, though, is if you take personal payment out of that, of course.
Cool. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to go to, if anybody else wants to do something like this, we highly recommend Matt's, we're not sponsored by him, but Matt Swarnson's company, Self-Directed IRA.
Yeah, directedira.com.
Directed IRA, sorry, not self-directed, just Directed IRA.
Directed IRA, it's Matt Sorensen and Mark Kohler. They actually have a really great podcast called the Directed IRA Podcast. If any of this sounds interesting to you, these guys are wizards when it comes to this stuff, and they're so much more smart than I am about the topic, even though I've learned a lot. But I tend to go tell people to go straight to the source of people who are good at this stuff.
And Matt's been on our podcast.
Yes.
We have a great podcast with him. Matt Swarnson, he spells his name with one T.
M-A-T.
So
S-O-R-E-N.
if you want to search our podcast page, just type in 1T for Matt and you'll find him. He's on season 3, I think.
Season 2, I think. It's been a while.
Maybe season 2. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we should get him back on or get Mark on or something like that.
Mark would be fun.
Yeah, Mark's fun too. I like him.
All right. Let's get out of here.
All right. Well, sounds good. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, Nick. I hope your deal goes really well. And if you need extra funds, I'm your guy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Of course.
I'd gladly take your money. Let's work something out.
I'll gladly give you my money. So.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for checking out the Investor Shed podcast. If you enjoyed your time, make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow along on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at The Investor Shed for shorts and promos about each episode. Do you want to be a guest or know someone who has great real estate investing advice and stories? Reach out to us at theinvestorshed@gmail.com.